Okay, so strap yourselves in because we're going deep on this one.
Diving head first.
Yeah, into Michael Saylor's 21 Rules of Bitcoin.
Which he dropped at BTC Prague this year.
Yeah, 2024 keynote.
Huge.
Huge. And it's not just about like, should I buy Bitcoin or, should I not? It's a lot bigger than that, wouldn't you say?
It's next level stuff.
Yeah.
Honestly, we're talking like a potential paradigm shift.
Okay.
Like Copernicus telling everyone, nope, Earth goes around the sun. That's the kind of claim Saylor's making for Bitcoin.
All right, so Saylor's not messing around here. We've got the transcript from the keynote right here, ready to dissect.
Let's do it.
What's the headline? Why does Saylor think Bitcoin is basically inevitable?
Because he's convinced it's the first perfect money the world has ever seen.
Okay.
And get this, he's also saying that every other form of currency, like even the dollar, is actually fundamentally flawed.
Flawed.
Well, okay, remember that whole Silicon Valley Bank thing?
Oh, yeah.
That's a perfect example that Saylor would point to because the current system is built on trust, and that can evaporate overnight.
Well, that's terrifying.
Exactly.
When you really think about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so where do these 21 rules come in?
So the rules are kind of like Saylor's roadmap for understanding not just like Bitcoin itself, but this massive shift in thinking he's convinced it's going to trigger.
Gotcha.
He even says, quote, those who understand Bitcoin buy Bitcoin, and those that don't criticize Bitcoin.
I've got to see the world through a Bitcoin lens to even get it.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's like trying to explain the internet to someone in the 1950s.
Right.
The framework to even grasp it just wouldn't be there.
Right.
And this is where it gets really interesting because Saylor says this journey of understanding Bitcoin, it's almost universal. Like it's something everyone goes through.
Yeah. Okay.
His second rule, everybody is against Bitcoin before they're for it.
Yeah. I can get with that. The more I feel like I learn about Bitcoin, the more I realize, I don't know.
Right.
There was that one part, though, that kind of freaked me out a little bit. He compared Bitcoin to a virus.
Oh, yeah. No need to panic.
Okay.
He doesn't mean like it's going to infect your computer or anything.
Okay.
His point is that it spreads and evolves so rapidly. Almost like an idea going viral,
Okay.
Remember the ice bucket challenge?
Yeah.
Took over the internet in like a week.
Yeah.
It was everywhere.
Okay. I get you.
That kind of thing.
I get the analogy. Okay. But then he went on to say that Bitcoin is powered by chaos, which I don't know. That sounds a little intense.
It's Saylor being Saylor.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
But his point is chaos is inevitable.
Right.
Like we're going to have wars, economic crashes, all that stuff.
It's going to happen.
And he's arguing that traditional assets, they just crumble under that pressure.
Okay.
Bitcoin, on the other hand,
Yeah.
he thinks it's built to not just survive chaos, but thrive in it.
So when the world is falling apart, Bitcoin is the place to be. That's a bold statement, even for Michael Saylor.
It is bold, but I mean, he backs it up.
Yeah.
Think about the 2008 financial crisis. People lost their shirts in the stock market. Real estate tanked.
Totally.
But Bitcoin
Yeah.
was born right in the middle of that chaos.
And it's still going strong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Saylor argues that's because Bitcoin is decentralized.
Right.
No single government or institution can control it.
Makes it resilient.
Makes it incredibly resilient.
Yeah.
He even compares investing in traditional assets to betting against the house in a casino.
Okay.
The odds are stacked against you.
So with Bitcoin, you become the house.
You got it.
Yeah.
And this leads to one of his most powerful arguments, I think,
Okay.
which is that Bitcoin is the one thing you truly own.
What do you mean? Most people would say they own their house, right?
Sure, you might have a deed,
Yeah.
but ultimately the government has the power to seize that property.
That's true.
Remember what happened during the housing crisis? People lost their homes even though they were still making payments.
Yeah.
With Bitcoin, if you control those private keys, it's yours and yours alone.
Okay. I can see how that would be appealing, for sure. Although, I gotta say, he kind of lost me with this one.
Which one?
When he said, everybody gets Bitcoin at the price they deserve. That's kind of harsh, don't you think?
It does sound harsh, but think about it this way.
Okay.
Remember when Bitcoin was practically worthless?
Yeah.
The people who saw its potential early on, who weren't afraid to take a risk, they were rewarded for their courage.
That's true.
The people who hesitated, who let fear hold them back,
Yeah.
they missed out.
Yeah. I remember thinking it was just a fad back in the day.
Right.
Now look at it.
Exactly. And even Saylor himself admits he was skeptical at first.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He even tweeted back in the day that Bitcoin's days were numbered.
Wow.
Now he's like one of its biggest advocates.
Talk about a change of heart. So it's all about overcoming that fear, that initial skepticism.
Yeah, it's about recognizing that sometimes the biggest opportunities come disguised as something new and unfamiliar.
Okay.
Saylor actually calls this the escape the matrix moment.
Okay, hold on. Not everyone listening has seen The Matrix, right?
True.
So what are we talking about here?
Okay, so the basic idea is that we live in this illusion,
Okay.
this carefully constructed reality that keeps us distracted from the truth.
Gotcha.
And in the movie, it takes a red pill to break free,
Okay.
to see the world for what it really is.
And Saylor's saying Bitcoin is the red pill of finance.
He's arguing that our traditional financial system, with all its complex rules and institutions, it's just a sophisticated illusion.
Okay.
It keeps us trapped in this cycle of debt and dependence.
So freedom from what?
Freedom from centralized control.
Okay.
Freedom from inflation.
Yeah.
From the whims of governments and banks.
Gotcha.
Saylor argues that tickets to escape the matrix are priced in Bitcoin.
Interesting.
It's about opting out of a system you no longer believe in and building a new one on your own terms.
And that's where things get really radical, I think.
They do.
Because Saylor doesn't think this is just about a new kind of money. He's talking about a complete paradigm shift.
100%. He says, quote, Bitcoin is going to destroy our existing models, our understanding of economics of politics,
Yeah.
maybe even how we organize society.
So if Bitcoin is the cure, what's the disease?
In Saylor's view, fiat currency.
Okay, like dollars, euros, yen.
All of it.
Okay.
He calls them all toxic
Wow.
because they're based on debt and constantly losing value.
Okay.
He argues that we need to stop relying on these toxic forms of money and embrace what he calls the orange pill of Bitcoin.
The orange pill of Bitcoin. I love it. He
Yeah.
even compares it to a medical breakthrough. Like we've been bleeding patients to death with fiat currency and finally there's a cure.
He's not afraid to be dramatic, that's for sure.
Not at all, but it highlights how deeply he believes in this.
Absolutely.
So it's not just about investing in Bitcoin. It's about like believing in a whole new way of thinking about money and value.
Right.
What about those who aren't convinced, though? What does Saylor say to them?
He says, be for Bitcoin, meaning embrace its potential to create a more equitable and just financial system.
Gotcha.
But interestingly, he adds, don't be against fiat.
Why not? If it's so toxic, why not fight against it?
Because Taylor's a pragmatist.
Yeah.
He knows you can't just flip a switch and change the entire financial system overnight. He uses the example of luxury goods.
Okay, like high-end fashion or,
Exactly.
expensive cars.
The ultra-wealthy might prefer Bitcoin, but they still price those Lamborghinis in dollars, right?
Right.
Because that's what people are used to using.
So it's about meeting people where they are.
Precisely. Saylor argues Bitcoin isn't about exclusion, it's for everyone. He even has this thought-provoking rule. Bitcoin is for the people you don't like.
Now that is a head-scratcher. I mean, who wants to help out people they don't like?
Right, well, here's his logic.
Okay.
Even those who seem opposed to Bitcoin, even your rivals, they will eventually be drawn to its advantages.
Okay.
And when they participate in the network, it benefits everyone.
Gotcha.
It's about the bigger picture.
So less about picking sides, more about recognizing that this has the potential to bridge those divides.
Exactly. And that's why Saylor stresses the importance of learning to think in Bitcoin.
Okay.
Imagine using Bitcoin as your baseline, your measuring stick for value.
Instead of thinking how much is this worth in dollars, it's how much Bitcoin is this worth.
It's a whole new way of looking at the world.
Okay, so let's say I'm on board with this whole Bitcoin revolution thing. How do I convince everyone else my family still thinks it's just for criminals?
Well, Saylor has advice for that too.
Okay.
His 21st and final rule is pure Saylor wisdom. Spread Bitcoin with love, not hate.
I love that.
Because he knows people resist what they don't understand.
Oh, believe me, I've had those family dinner.
Right, but imagine if instead of arguing, we led with patience and empathy.
Okay.
Helped people understand instead of judging them for not getting it yet.
So a little Bitcoin kindness can go a long way.
Exactly. He believed that's how real change happens.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground here. Perfect money, escaping the Matrix cyber hornets. Saylor does not hold back.
He's a man with a vision.
He really is. And whether you agree with him or not, you got to admire that conviction.
Absolutely.
So for anyone listening who's maybe thinking this Bitcoin thing, is it really that big of a deal? What would you tell them?
I'd say Michael Saylor certainly thinks so. He sees it as more than just an investment. It's a revolution in progress. Whether you choose to join that revolution, well, that's up to you.
What a thought to leave you with if you want to explore Saylor's 21 Rules of Bitcoin. Further, we'll have a link to the full keynote transcript on our website. Until next time, keep diving deep.